How many of you remember taking a picture, looking down into the viewfinder, making sure all the settings are right, after you take the picture, having to wind a 35mm film into it? Today, with technology advancing, smartphones actually having the capability to take pictures, we even have iPads that can take a picture, and nowadays a picture actually fits in my pocket. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how to take a good picture simply by understanding how your device works, having a general understanding of picture composition, and which involves a little bit of trying different angles. Let's go ahead and talk about our devices. The first thing I'm going to recommend to a lot of you is read your user's manual. There's a lot of times when you just want to go ahead and practice, see what our picture is capable of. But nowadays, it's actually better for you to have a better understanding. This way, you could take pictures in black and white. You could actually change the color and tone of your picture and everything like that. Just a couple things on the camera. You want to know your device. This button here is your shutter release button, and speaking of your shutter, it's actually right here inside of there. What it is, think of your shutter as a eyelash. Every time you open your eyes, you're letting light in. That's where the pictures come from. On the back of a lot of cameras nowadays, you have the viewfinder, and other ones like your SLRs, they actually have a small viewfinder for more stability when you are looking through it. Along with the viewfinder, right next to it, we find the menu options where you can adjust your settings from flash. You could actually set a timer on here, and your settings like macro when you want to take other pictures. Like I said, the biggest thing is to understand how your camera works. Now that we have a better understanding of our camera, let's go ahead and talk about composition. In a book titled Fundamentals of Photography, Helen Drew states, "A strong photographic composition will hold and emotionally reach the viewer beyond the subject matter, and they probably won't even notice the deliberate structure that makes the image work so well. Composing your image well can create the difference between a good picture and a great photograph." She also goes into talking about the 5 elements of composition. The 5 elements of composition, I'd have to actually show you to give you a better understanding. We have patterns. Patterns are all around us. In this picture here, hopefully you can make it out, we have patterns of the windows on the building. Another one is symmetry. Symmetry basically is whether or not you put the picture dead center or off center. In this picture, we have the road leading down into the horizon, so they put the road right dead center. The next thing we have, next element, excuse me, is texture. If you look in here, when the light hits an interesting angle, it gives our picture character, some texture. If you could actually see that the square here rises a little bit. And the next element we have is depth of field. Depth of field, we isolate the subject. In here we have the shoes, and in the background it's basically isolating the background, so we have focus more on the shoes. And our last element, of course, is lines. Lines draw your eyes to follow direction. A lot of us learn to read left to right and top to bottom. In this case, we're actually following it to the right of the picture. After all these elements of composition, I'm going to actually talk to you about one basic rule, and that's the rule of thirds. In the article Rule of Thirds, written by Darren Rose, he explains the rule of thirds basically as basic principles. He says, "The theory is that if you place points of interest in the intersection or along lines that your photo becomes more balanced and will enable a viewer of the image to interact with it more naturally. Studies have shown that when viewing images, that people's eyes usually go to one of the intersection points more naturally rather than the center of the shot. Using the rule of thirds works with this natural way of viewing an image rather than working against it." Here in this picture, you can have a better idea of rule of thirds. Basically, it's a tic-tac-toe pattern. It breaks your picture up into 9 sections. What you want to do anytime you're looking through your viewfinder is to imagine the rule of thirds. You want to kind of place your object along one of these lines. You either have your eye line or your horizon line, and your vertical lines you want to either put, like in this picture, they have the penguin along one line, and that actually naturally draws it. Plus, if you're not focused more on symmetry, like we spoke about in the earlier elements, this will actually give your picture a story to tell. Now, some things you want to ask yourself when you're taking the pictures: what are the points of interest? Where am I intentionally placing them? And now, let's go ahead and talk about how, when we're taking a picture, let's go with angles. A lot of us like to take the picture dead center, put the picture in, bring the camera up, take our picture. Today I'm going to talk to you about using the rule of thirds and trying something new. A lot of times you can get on the ground, drop to a knee, get a better picture, and even a better angle of the object that you want to take. Another one, a lot of us, you see it on Facebook, old school MySpace, or even just online pictures, is just holding the picture up. It gives you a different angle. And get up high, go on a ladder, get to the second tier of the building, and take a picture from the top all the way down, viewing down. Other things are laying on your back, and just try something new. Go out there. Now that you have a better understanding of composition techniques, how important it is to know your device before you actually operate it, and trying different angles, I can tell you everything all in all. However, Berea Abbott says it all. In her quote, she says, "There are many teachers who could ruin you. Before you know it, you could be a pale copy of this teacher or that teacher. You have to evolve on your own." Go out there, have fun, and shoot your next pic.